Hi, readers. I hope all of you are doing good and enjoying a nice weekend with the friends and family or both. Now, this is the sequel video to what we have already been recorded and seen. If you have not seen that, please leverage this weekend to watch that as well first and then get to this because this is the sequel. Now, in this sequel, we are going to talk about two or three things. How to retain more. Okay, that is the number one issue, challenge, and a differential area for you going big in the audiobook space. Number two is listening. Okay, how to really avoid regression. Why are we listening to an audiobook? And three, when to get a physical copy of a book. I've been doing a lot of experiments on the third phase, so let's get on to that while covering the first 2 points. Retain better. Let's be very honest, majority of us, an overwhelming majority of us, are poor listeners. Compound that with Ebbinghaus forgetting curve, where you forget the half of the things within the end of the day. That is, by the next 24 hours, you're going to forget half of the things you've learned today. Okay, 3 days, the half-life of your knowledge would have gone down to bare minimum. Compound that with poor listening, you're not going to retain as such. Okay, you might feel that you've heard it, you might feel that you recall it somewhat, but you won't be able to picture it out. And 2 minutes of silence for those who binge listen to an audiobook 5-6 hours at one go, because imagine if you finished a book within 3 days you've forgotten the book as well. That's you wasted your 6 hours in listening in the first place. So that is also why we are not having an elongated listening sessions. Listening sessions are 20-25 minutes long. What happens right after the listening session will make or break an audiobook experience for you. This is where the 2-minute note comes into play. Wherever you are, okay, whenever you have completed the listening session, take a small pause for 2 minutes. Okay, literally, if you're driving a car, you're done with the chapter, put the car on the side and make a quick 2-minute note. Now, how do you make quick 2-minute note? No concept, nothing. It's simple. Just write it down. Okay. If you're on a phone, and most of the times you're listening to an audiobook on a phone with the earphones on. If you're on a phone, type into your note. Okay. Create a note saying you're listening to Why We Sleep. So notes of Why We Sleep. Chapter 1 or chapter 1 subheading. We are going slow with this book because this is a book written by a scientist. Even though it's a very nice to read book, there are some concepts, that is why we're going slow. So you can subdivide each of the day's portion as the subheading element. Chapter 2 can be divided into circadian rhythm, melatonin, and caffeine. So you just make quick sub notes. Okay, don't try to make too much. That's like 2 minutes. Okay. Literally don't make it like a Maggie which says 2 minutes and takes 4-5 minutes. Try to keep it to 2 minutes. You'll realize sooner or later that this crispness helps you get it done. The moment you start thinking 5 or 10 minutes, you're not going to do it and the retention will directly be impacted. So quick 2-minute thing, you could type it down, or what I personally prefer, because I have an iPad with me, I scribble it, or what I also now beginning to prefer more than even typing or scribbling is an audio note itself. So I have an audio pen, and all of you know audio pen is the tool I absolutely love, because it also builds a summary out of what I've spoken into it. So I just make a quick audio pen scribble or listen. So I just speak it out. Okay, whatever what the authors say. So this way I can capture it. Okay. Now this is also a work in progress. So I'm not an expert here. It will take a lot of time for me to really become expert, but I do know that the moment I do this, retention of an audiobook goes 10x, literally 10x. And you can imagine how much I can retain an audiobook if I just was listening. Let's move on to the second part. I know I've dwelled a lot on it, but second is listening element of audiobook. Remember, you're not going to be able to remember this audiobook because you're not going to be sitting in your desk and listening to it. If you just have to sit in your desk and listen to an audiobook, remove the listening part. You directly read an audiobook or directly read a book. So because we are all mostly visual learners, we will learn better if we are actually reading a book. So when are we listening on audiobook? To fill in pocket of spaces where we are doing something else, and instead of watching some movie, or you can do that, okay. But if we feel filling in some of those pockets with an audiobook, okay, that is why I call it audiobook is always passively listened. But because you're passively listening, don't make it a lecture. Don't try to regress. Don't try to keep going back and forth stuff. So listen, just you're listening to actually screen, and that makes me come to the third part. When to get an audio physical book, okay? See, if you love a book already, whenever you love a book, if it's chapter 2, 3, 4, whenever you've loved a book in listening mode, get the physical copy immediately, okay. And whenever you're done with a chapter and listen, just skim through the physical book. The combination of audiobook and a physical book will make you an exemplary reader, and this is the most key element of this in this part too. Getting the physical book is crucial, but you need to like the audiobook first. So audiobook is a screener, and if you love the audition, the screening, get a physical book. And when do you read a physical book? When you've completed a chapter, the way we are listening to the Why We Sleep in a guided program. When we complete a chapter, you can go and skim. Now don't try to read, because then you're doing other double damage, okay. You already would know some way, your mind would have some dots connect there. The moment you skim through it, you will be able to connect the dots. Yeah, this is it for me for this part 2 of this video. If there's some more things you want to know about, immediately reply to this video, and I'll pick this up. And tomorrow is a Sunday, so I can actually make one on Sunday easily. So please watch this video. Let me know what else you want to know about audiobooks, so that the second week of Why We Sleep goes in a bang, okay? And if you loved the Why We Sleep so far, you know what you have to do. Buy the physical book. Thank you so much.